There was much to be said from fans and pundits about the fact that Jose Aldo would not be competing in a 5-round fight this weekend when the UFC touches down in Brazil. For just the second time in 10 years and 15 fights, and you're hearing that correctly, just the second time in 10 years, Jose Aldo will be fighting in a 3-round fight when he takes on featherweight contender Renato Moicano. And I'm stoked about it. I don't get the dissatisfaction amongst some of the fans about the fact that it's not a main event and not a 5-rounder. If anything, seeing Aldo in a 3-round fight is a treat. I think a lot of people out there don't realize how substantial the difference between preparing and performing in a 3-round fight is compared to a 5-rounder. For starters, the difference has a major influence over a fighter mentally. As much as these guys and girls tend to give us the impression that they love what they do, the prospect of potentially having to be in there for 25 minutes as opposed to the regular 15 minutes weighs heavy on a fighter's mind. Having to be in there for 10 minutes longer than the normal impacts a fighter's mindset, which influences their game plan and strategy. For most fighters, whether their gas tank is big or small, the cardio has to be managed totally different than what they're accustomed to. And it doesn't always translate into having to be more conservative about taking chances and going for the kill, but I tend to think it often influences that aspect of things a lot more than we give it credit for. This doesn't always apply, but to summarize, the shorter the fight, the greater chance of fireworks. And when you have a guy like Jose Aldo stepping into the octagon to compete, increasing the chances of chaos is never a bad thing, whether it goes in his favor or not. Take his last fight, for instance. In the 3-round bout versus juggernaut Jeremy Stephens, Aldo produced one of the greatest finishes of his storied career when he bounced a brutally sharp and hard lead body shot to Stephens, crumpling the little heathen on the canvas in an instant. Granted, it's a small sample size we're working with here, but if you were to take Aldo's entire WEC and UFC career into account, in the 6 3-round fights he's competed in, he's walked away with a W via KO/TKO all 3 times. And I'm going to stop harping on this now, but I believe my point's taken. I just wanted to put it out there that instead of being disappointed about the co-main event slot, I feel like fans should be even more excited about the fact. No matter what the duration of this bout though, Aldo is in tough against fellow Brazilian Renato Moicano. Standing 5 feet 11 inches tall, Moicano will be towering over the former featherweight champion when they square off in the octagon Saturday night. And it's not that height is ever necessarily a determining factor. I just note it because Moicano is a very dangerous Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and he has a propensity for that rear naked choke. And I'm sure as hell no Jiu-Jitsu expert, but it's occurred to me that half of Moicano's professional wins have come by way of rear naked choke, and he has never won a fight by KO or TKO. So you have to think that one way or another, he's gonna try to get Aldo to the mat in an effort to earn the W over one of the greatest to ever do it. Though I should know by now to never assume anything when it comes to this game and to always expect the unexpected. But on paper, we have a classic striker versus grappler on our hands. The only thing is that the striker in this case also has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and also possesses incredible takedown defense. But despite all this, the betting odds are actually currently favoring Moicano. Interesting. Either way, expect a great one come Saturday night because, as mentioned, the Aldo versus Moicano fight is the co-main event for Rafael Assunção versus Marlon Moraes, which is an absolute banger of a fight that I cannot wait for. That fight, of course, will be a 5-rounder, and it's the main event, but I do offer to you that I think if it was a 3-round fight, it would play out differently. I'm not prepared to say it would favor one fighter over the other, just acknowledging that I think it would be a little bit different of an outcome. Don't miss Jose Aldo this weekend. Us MMA fans tend to have very short memories and recency bias, but watch Aldo while you can because he's one of the greatest to ever do it, and who knows how many times we're going to get the pleasure to see this phenom do what he does best.